Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Art and Culture Commission monthly meeting. Today is Thursday, November 17, 2016. And roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver?
Here.
Oshagan?
Yes.
Chairperson Sharikian?
Here.
For the record, Commissioner Derhovanesian and Sahakian are not present. The agenda for the November 17th meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on November 10th, 2016.
Second item.
Item 2, consent items. At 2A, approval of regular meeting minutes from October 20th, 2016.
Any changes in the minute?
I move approval.
Okay, second, please. Laura? You second it?
Yes, I second.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you seconded.
Roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver?
Yes.
Oshagan?
Yes.
Chairperson Sharikian.
Yes.
Item 3, introductions and presentations. At 3A, Library Arts and Culture events presented by Chuck Wyke, Community Relations Manager.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, City staff. I have a number of, again, I think, fun events that are taking place mostly in December at our different library locations, just not at our central library primarily because we're still under renovation. Could I have the PowerPoint? We'll start off. I think I told you last month that 4 of our neighborhood libraries have 7-day-a-week service. They include Brand Library, and here's something you may not have seen. The staff at the Brand Library with Mr. Brand in the background. So we have Brand Library, Casa Verdugo, they're up on North Brand at Stockert. They're also 7 days a week. Montrose Library on Honolulu next to the fire station, that's a 7-day-a-week location. There's a bunch of our staff. And finally, the Pacific Park Library on Pacific Avenue down by Columbus Elementary. They also are 7-day-a-week location, and some of the new faces in the staff photos include our librarians that have come from the Central Library who have been farmed out to those locations. Brand Library will continue with its Nexus and In a Dream exhibition through the first week in January. They had a very good opening reception. I'm anxious to see it. I'm going to see it this weekend. We have some more yarn and knitting projects coming up at one of our branches, the Montrose branch, December 3rd, and Chevy Chase Library, December 10th. Those are both kind of long-standing groups who have done that yarn and crocheting and knitting. All their projects for both groups actually go to charitable purposes. One Book, One Glendale. That's our annual all-encompassing City of Glendale reading event. This one is for younger readers. The book is The One and Only Ivan. It's based on a true story about a Highland gorilla that was in captivity for some chunk of time. And so the author, Catherine Applegate, really well-known in children's literature, wrote a book from the point of view of Ivan, the gorilla. So she's going to speak at the Adult Recreation Center next door to the Central Library on Friday, December 9th at 7 p.m. There she is. And there's also a little, she's got some other books, but she's promoting a canned food drive for the homeless and for some of our needy. And so children and families are encouraged to bring something to donate that night. I might also add that this is the 10th year of this particular program for children, and we've never had anything less than, any number less than 200. The auditorium at the Central Library is full every single time, and there have been events going on through Glendale. Every one of those nights, doesn't matter. We always draw a real good crowd for our One Book for you. There's an open house at Brand Library on Saturday, December 10th, 6:30. There'll be live music. There will be tours of the doctor's house, tours of the Brand Library, and there's a performance by a musical group that night also. Once again, we are also promoting Freegal Music, where you can stream an entire album worth of music to your phone or your device or your computer, and you get to keep it. It's pretty much the Sony catalog, like whatever they have in their subsidiaries, that's what you get. There's millions, literally millions of songs there. So once again, you can call us at Central Library Administration, but better yet, 7 days a week, go out and visit one of our neighborhood libraries. They're having a lot of fun, seeing a lot of extra foot traffic and more phone calls and more business. I work the phones at the Central Library at that 2030 number. We don't get as many anymore. You know, we've transferred them so many times. They're going out to the branches, and a lot of people are just excited for the 7-day-a-week service.
Thank you, Chuck. Any questions? All right, thank you, Chuck. Item 4?
Item 4, oral communications, and there's no questions.
None? Okay, item 5.
Item 5, business agenda at 5A, action item. At 5A1, motion approving a new allocation of $20,000 from temporary art in public spaces for Central Library Plaza series and to provide arts and cultural programming for the Central Library grand opening celebrations week of March 16th, 2017.
Good afternoon, Chair Sharikian and Commissioners Deaver and Oshigan. My name is Sharon Mann-Garrett. I'm your Principal Administrator for Library Arts and Culture. My first report is a recommendation of an allocation totaling $20,000 from the Temporary Art and Public Spaces Program as approved in the 2015-2017 work plan. And basically this allocation is to provide entertainment for the grand reopening events and a continued Plaza series. I want to show you a couple of renderings. The reimagined Central Library will be a public facility like no other in Southern California. It will include a state-of-the-art library technology and computer connectivity, a fully equipped makerspace, a new computer technology lab and computer bars, a remembrance room with an oral history recording component, a newly renovated auditorium with a recording studio, a natural light reading spa, several new community gathering rooms. The Central Library will continue to be a free and safe environment for lifelong learning, community engagement, entertainment, and making. And here on your screen is the rendering of what the grand entry will look like. As you may know, the Central Library has been reoriented to face into the Art and Entertainment District. We'll have a grand entry now with a plaza area and a cafe. Inside the Central Library will be a grand community living room. This space will have modular furniture that can be removed and moved for events or entertainment. We've landed on a date for our community-wide reopening, which will be the 23rd of March. This date should be a community-wide celebration that's focused on dignitaries, community, families, kids, and just a full celebration of what this library means to the community. So it'll be our grand reopening and community party. The second event that we're wanting to talk about is our Tech Arts and Culture Night, which will be the following Friday night, the 24th of March. This event will be an adult-focused event that is designed to bring people into the library who may not have used the library before. We want to show them that it's a place where they can experience culture, build their own content, and be entertained, or just come in and just have a good time. The Central Library Plaza series would be much like the Brand Library Plaza series. It would feature diverse entertainment from diverse genres. And here's our funding request. So for the community-wide celebration, we're looking for $2,500. That is to provide family type of entertainment, large format entertainment, things like mariachis, marching band, types of entertainment that will really usher in the new library to the community. For the following night, for Tech Arts and Culture Night, we're looking for things that are more adult themed, specifically a hip hop dance crew, a DJ, and perhaps even some comedy. And then following the grand reopening events from April to June, $15,000 to pay for a plaza series. That's the end of my report.
Comments, questions?
Yes, so the community-wide celebration is outdoors then?
It'll be outdoors and indoors. We intend to have events throughout the library. The library, as you know, is a very large facility, and we'll have things going on all over the library. We've confirmed a character artist from Disney will be there to draw for the kids. We're looking for balloon artists. We're looking for characters, those types of things, sort of
And
like when we shut down.
And the same thing for the Tech Art and Culture Night?
Exactly. There would be hopefully entertainment in the auditorium, some things maybe in the history rooms, and definitely something on the front porch.
Okay, and so what is this funding going towards directly, or do you not know?
To the artists.
To the artist as a stipend to the artists?
Yes.
That's what it's for.
That's purely what it's
As
for.
well for the Plaza series then?
Indeed, yes.
Can you elaborate the Plaza series a little
Yeah,
more?
a little bit.
Oh, sure. The Plaza Series will be much like the Brand Library and Art Center Plaza Series. It would be a series of events on an evening night, Friday night or Saturday night. Most of the Plaza Series events would be outdoors. As the library does face into the art and entertainment district, and there's lots of foot traffic going by, it would basically be to entertain the public that's surrounding the downtown. The Plaza Series at Brand has been very, very successful, drawing, standing room only crowds, and we believe that we could draw the same types of crowds for the Plaza Series in Central, maybe even larger. The Plaza Series would really be designed to acquaint the public with the library as not only a place to read and develop academic content, but also a place to have a good time and experience culture and art.
I'm sure when time comes in, we're going to have announcements for artists
Yes.
to sign up, and all the process, the same process.
All the processes would be the same. I believe for the Tech Arts and Culture Night, we might have to invite the artists as opposed to doing a call to artists to ensure that we get the right people that we want to come in. The Tech Arts and Culture Night audience is probably a tougher room than the community-wide celebration, in as much as we are trying to inspire an adult audience to come down to the library, and we'll need some headliners and we'll need some things that they're interested in. The Plaza Series would be just the same call to artists as we do for the Plaza Series at the Brand. We're looking for diversity, we're looking for culture, we're looking for exciting acts to come down and play for us and be exposed.
Did you want to finish? Are you following up on what you were asking?
Just more details on the Plaza series, basically.
Okay.
So every Friday night, so 12 acts, so $15,000 for 12 performances.
So far we believe that we can do that, man.
That's the plan?
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's what we've been doing in the past with Brand Library.
We've been doing
Roughly, yeah.
$1,000.
That's correct.
About
That's correct.
$1,500.
The numbers were built to match the Brand Series. I do feel that for the new Central Library Series, we might have larger crowds than we normally would have at Brand because of the proximity to the downtown. We hope we'll have standing room only crowds. We hope that we won't have any, public works types of interference or public right away. But we'll definitely assess that and see what's needed to be doing outdoor performances in the downtown.
So I think my comments are more are less specific. I absolutely see the need or the reason for doing this. I think it will be a great way to draw folks in to understand and to experience the reopening and what the library is about and all of that. As I often say, I would hope that any kinds of events and performances and such are innovative and interesting and not something that can necessarily be found elsewhere, that especially if we're looking at trying to draw an adult crowd. I wonder whether like the Tech Arts Culture Night of 2,500 is enough to really to be enough to do something really innovative, especially if it's along the lines of tech, the tech component, which we've talked a lot about on the dais here. If we're looking at folks that might be in the performance or other types of installations or things that they might be doing that's engaging the public in a really interesting and maybe tech-oriented type of way. So I just question whether that would be enough money to do something that's really innovative and not just run-of-the-road stuff. My broader question, I guess, or comment perhaps, is the Temporary Art Fund, as it was originally conceived for this 2-year work plan, was around the idea of having art installations and engagement type of installations that would run for like a year. That's my memory of it. And if anybody recalls this differently, let me know, because I remember that when we had the program of the You Are Here program, the feeling was, oh gosh, we had all of these great installations that happened around the city, and they lasted for maybe 4 weeks or something, and like, oh, we wish we could have had them up for a year and more people could be involved. And then we conceived then of the pop-up art funding to kind of target these more one-off types of programs. So while I'm not opposed to allocating money for these uses, I mean, I think that's totally appropriate. I'm just sort of a stickler around where the money is being pulled from, and as long as we are all in consensus that we're perhaps changing the theme of what this was intended for. And maybe another broad question I have around that is if we didn't see something come forth to this commission in the 2-year cycle for the temporary art program, and I know we have another item coming up that's more in line with that, but if we didn't see something come forth because more of a capacity issue, because we've been doing a lot this year, and just what maybe the thinking from staff is around what that pot of money was intended for and what we perhaps haven't used it for, and acknowledging that this allocation runs out in the end of June, and so there's no point in not spending it down for good purposes. It's a lot in there. I don't know if I'm asking a specific question.
I agree 100% with what you just said. I think that we would like to fully deploy the monies that we have allocated. We definitely thought of that fund as being for things that came forward to us, and we're going to talk about another one of those items. And with this opportunity coming, this citywide committee that's helping put together the grand reopening, we have the opportunity to have a few more hands on deck. So we wanted to do something impactful.
Okay. So I guess my thought is again, I'm supportive of the conceptually. I'm just feeling frustration a little bit around the idea that we had in place a 2-year plan and allocations, and that we weren't able, for a variety of, this is not a blame thing in any way, it's just, in terms of just capacity and other things that took priority, but we didn't take advantage of programs like You Are Here and things that we kind of wanted to extend in maybe a different way. And I know that also that the PAMP, the Public Art Master Plan, will address a lot of this, hopefully, so that we have a more strategic approach in the future, but that's not going to happen for like another year before, and we'll be building the next 2-year work plan or 1-year work plan or whatever happens before that even we get feedback on that. So I guess I just felt like I needed to express a little bit of a frustration about how we're being strategic about things and what the intentions were of some of these funding programs to begin with. That all said, I totally support conceptually what we're talking about, but I just didn't feel right not expressing those points.
I'd like to address your first point, too, about the Tech Arts and Culture Night and the amount of funding. I do share your concern about the amount of funding, and if we do find that we're unable to successfully secure appropriate entertainment that's interesting, immersive, and provocative, we'll certainly come back to this commission and ask for a reallocation or to move this money around in a different way. I think we saw when we attempted to build some program for Tech Week last year, we simply ran out of time because we didn't have enough time to find those people that would come to Tech Week at the Brand and do something impactful. That's why we're here now. we want to make sure we have enough time that we could really go out and shake the community and find those engaging and interesting artists.
So are we, and maybe this is a question for our attorney, are we bound in any way in terms of our recommendations for funding for things that were not, for money out of pools that were intended for different uses, or not?
No, you're not really bound by, again, some of these categories overlap, and it's true. I do remember that, the commission did have certain thoughts about what certain funds would be used, but some events and activities do overlap, and I don't think it would violate any of those categories to use those monies for that purpose.
Okay, they're more of a guide for us as opposed to something specific.
Yes.
The overall allocation is what we can make our recommendations about how the city uses.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
So I want to echo what Terry said, that this is perhaps going to be the first very clear and significant thing that we're doing in terms of the library opens, Arts and Culture Commission puts on these things. I think it's very, very important to sort of state clearly what it is that we want to do in this city, right? So we can't, I think it's very important to find the right artist, not, like you said, to repeat what happened on Maryland Avenue project, where it was done really haphazardly and just, it was business as usual. We don't want to be business as usual. I think it's very, very important to not be business as usual and really bring in something different, and people see it, and that's going to sort of set the tone for everything that we do with the master plan and anything else, right? So I think that's critical. Plus, I think it's very important to promote what we're doing, right? So I don't think we can just put on a Plaza series and have people show up. I think we need to be able to, make a poster, maybe do something to promote it, put it at the Americana, so we draw people from different places, not just randomly wait for people to show up, but really make an effort to say, this is what we're doing, we want you to come. Right? So I think, if that's a possibility, I think it's really important to put it part of this plan, and if we need to add some few $1,000s to do that, I think that's kind of important, or else, what do we?
Well, actually, within the general fund funding for the library grand reopening is a budget for advertising. I'm not sure, but I don't think the Urban Art Fund can pay for advertising, but we are going to spend a significant amount of money on advertising the grand reopening and all the events around it. One example are the banners on Brand Boulevard. We do intend to take up a significant amount of the real estate on Brand Boulevard, announcing our grand reopening. Also, one fortunate thing about Central is that we're adjacent to a very bustling community. With the Brand Library and Arts Center, we do have to draw people in because they wouldn't necessarily stumble upon it or know about it. But fortunately, we have lots of community partners in the downtown that can help us get the word out.
I would like to add a comment or two regarding not just the Plaza series, also for the events for the reopening. I remember very well that the library, the Central Library, will have departments of creation that could be a sound system or art room or different type of areas where public can go and create or come up with ideas. So that the whole idea, that means an art, and that connects with our mission, where we are helping the Central Library and the city of Glendale with space, and we are somehow funding it indirectly or directly to and invite the public to come and see and enjoy and take the advantage of that area spaces. That's art. I think that's directly connected to our mission, not only to beautify Glendale, whereas also to ask the public to be part of it. That's communication, and that's also both hand working together. That's how I see it. Yes, I agree with Terry regarding what refers to the budget. I remember very well that the temporary art budget was specifically for installations, but they're all temporary, and this is a temporary too. Yes, I understand that installation part is not mentioned within this specific project, but if we agree, that's fine. I mean, we can refer to our city council that the temporary art, instead of being an installation, let it be a series where we can attract hundreds and maybe thousands of people during 3 months period. I like the idea. I also see the idea of the Plaza series, instead of allocating $15,000 to a 3 months period, maybe we can narrow it down to 2 months. And then the $5,000 we can probably allocate to a temporary art installation within the perimeter of Central Library. We still have time. We still have at least 6 months to go. So this is something we can always expand and try to find a new venue to reach out. And that also will impact on the area of the art district. So we will have some series, musical series, performance series. At the same time, we will have a few $1,000s, maybe 5 or 7, whatever that dollar figure is, for a temporary 1-year program. I would advise the staff to follow or to see if there are opportunities to reach that. If there is, if none, then we can talk about it again. But overall, the idea is it's to the point, to the purpose of our mission. So looks okay. Looks okay. Any other comments?
So if you don't use that 20,000 by June, it goes back into the general fund? Is that what that is?
No.
No, all the money that's within the Urban Art Fund will stay in the Urban Art Fund. It will not revert back to the general fund in any case. It's just that the City Council has approved our work plan and approved these various categories. If we decided to not spend this money for this, it would just roll over into the next year.
So the money is there with a specific project,
Right.
or specific fund to spend. If we don't spend it, it will just stay there until next fiscal year or whatever.
Our next work plan.
The work plan, yes. All right. If there are no other comments, can we?
I guess, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead,
So
take
why is this 20,000 coming from the temporary art and public places allocation? And do we have any other possible ways of using this funding in the next, up to June?
Well, we certainly could use the funding in a different way. This appeared to be a really good opportunity.
It's
Okay.
I think I feel like there is an opportunity to join and make the art program a more visible, specifically our commission work plan visible, and that's what I feel the staff is trying to do. Somehow connect the Art and Culture Commission work to the Central Library and expand from there on, April, May, June, which is good idea. I don't see a bad idea about it.
Yeah, we felt it was an opportunity for community engagement with the Arts and Culture Commission. We're having a big bang around opening the Central Library. We just got another article in the news press yesterday surrounding the Central Library. It's a spectacular, spectacular venue. And the events surrounding our grand reopening, I believe, are a one-time opportunity for us to bring in crowds that may not have been exposed to the library and may not know what we have. So we're trying to sort of synergize those opportunities right now.
Yeah, my idea was just more of a philosophical kind of overarching issue as opposed to a specific. I mean, I think there's absolute need to do arts and cultural events and or installations, and to highlight all of that. Do you know offhand where we are with our budget? It's just been a while since I've looked at it in terms of our different categories, and I don't remember offhand.
I can certainly update you at your next meeting. In fact, I did plan to update the work plan at the next meeting and start to propose the upcoming work plan.
Because I'm assuming that, like about the pop-up, which I know we're working on through the AHA program, we've allocated a certain amount that we're hoping to spend down through the fiscal year through that program, and I think that is sort of would be that full allocation at that point for that program. And so I think that was the only other, just kind of an answer to your question. I don't think there were other.
Is coming up,
and
nothing else,
and the funds that we take, or the allocation on paper anyway, that we go to for this series at the brand, is that its own category?
Yes, that's its
right?
own category.
Yeah.
And the remaining
as long as
categories.
we're innovative, as long as we have this innovative and forward-looking and installation and mixed media kind of approach to this work, I think it's good. We should do it.
Yeah,
It's called Plaza Series, but I hope it's not going to be the same Plaza Series as up there. I hope it's going to be totally different.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's a completely different audience.
Yeah, in a practical sense, I agree with that. It's like if I see 5 different cultural music groups and a balloon artist and face painting, I'm gonna lose it. So
Can't do that. We are not doing that anymore.
I mean, I love the brand series, but I agree we want you all to, which I know you all do too. It's our responsibility to express it publicly and our thoughts about it. And I think that's just what we're doing.
Absolutely. I personally would like to see more contemporary art as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's being said, everything I hope. Are we ready for a vote?
I'm willing to motion that the approval of this, taking in the context, of course, all of our
Do I have a
comments
second?
around that.
Yes, I second it.
Okay, roll call, please, then.
Commissioners Deaver,
Yes.
Oshagan,
Yes.
Chairperson Sharikian.
Yes.
Item 2, motion to approve $70,000 for Painted Sidewalks project.
Okay, Commissioners, this is an item that we brought to you at your last meeting, and you asked us for more detail regarding painted crosswalks. In your October 20th meeting, we recommended an approval of a budget of $70,000 from the Temporary Art and Public Spaces budget, and this expenditure would be for installation of artistically painted crosswalks at each end of the Art and Entertainment District along Maryland Avenue. Staff presented some budget justification data and showed the Commissioners examples of painted crosswalk art from other cities. The Commission agreed that the project would be appropriate as a temporary art in public spaces, however, noting the expense relative to other Arts and Culture Commission projects, you requested further details be brought forward in this meeting. You requested estimated costs, more detail on that. You also requested whether or not there would be potential for private entity sponsorships of this type of activity. And third, you requested the rationale for the proposed locations. So first I'll start with the cost detail. Here's how it breaks down. We were considering 2 crosswalk projects, one at Harvard in Maryland and the other one at Wilson in Maryland. The artist design honorarium would be $3,000 for each intersection. In this case, it's not simply a flat design, but also the artist would work with our Public Works Department and Library Arts and Culture to get the installation done correctly. Another big piece of the expense is the stencil fabrication, which would be multiple layers for various colors. There is another way to do this, which would be a heat transfer. Basically, you emblazon plastic onto the street. We're not recommending that method because we believe it's too permanent. This method, the stencil paint method, could be removed, it could be refreshed, it could be changed, so we think it's more flexible. The installation itself would be about $7,000 per leg of the crosswalks, and then miscellaneous expenses related to the street closure. I added another $1,000 for each one of those. So the total of $70,000 is for those 2 crosswalks. And then you asked information about the locations. This is your downtown. The 2 yellow circles are where the crosswalks would be. The yellow circle to your left is in front of the Central Library, and the yellow circle to your right is across the street from the new Limley Lofts project. Those are the 2 bookends of the Art and Entertainment District. The Art and Entertainment District is a district where retailers and restaurateurs do not have to have a conditional use permit to operate. There's special permitting there so that if they meet certain conditions, they can simply open without the normal rigmarole that they would have to go through to have alcohol and to be open late. So this is definitely an area of the city where we're encouraging pedestrian activity, encouraging adult nightlife, and we believe that these two bookends of the Art and Entertainment District will be beautifully marked by these new crosswalks. Also, this is part of the pedestrian connectivity to the Americana, the Galleria, and the high-rise office district to the north. So that ends the final question was whether or not these installations could be sponsored by private entities, and there's nothing prohibiting that in the Urban Art Fund guidelines. However, I would just like to say from my personal experience that getting private entities to sponsor public projects is a very long and difficult process, and we would lose significant control if we were to go that route. That's my report.
Okay. Any comments, questions?
I just have one quick question.
Go ahead.
And I think this was in the report, but the Public Works didn't have any plans to do anything in those crosswalks where they would be having some of their own allocation of budget towards, or where there was overlap, where we're kind of
correct.
Bringing this on.
You did ask if there was going to be overlap, and there is not. The crosswalks still have to be maintained as crosswalks, so the art that we'd be producing would be within those. And further, what we're asking for is the allocation so that we can move ahead with Public Works. We haven't negotiated with them at all. We've talked a little bit with them about, their attitudes toward doing it, and the whole city is on board. It's part of our Safe and Healthy Streets initiative, but we're looking forward to having a robust negotiation on this.
Few comments and few questions. And I'm assuming this picture does not necessarily represent the style, not only the style, also the method, because I see the intersection itself is all painted. And we're just painting this crosswalks.
Correct.
Not the center area.
No, we would not be painting the center area. We didn't price that out.
That's fine. Mm-hmm. Number two, while I've been driving around LA throughout different cities, I've been noticing that more and more cities have similar crosswalks, which they intend to, some of them are fading out, some of them are not just painted, they are either brick or cement or some type of coloring that they're permanent and not temporary. The third question I have is, you mentioned Maryland and Wilson corner. If I'm not wrong, there is a construction going on there, the theater company right now, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay. Therefore, my question will be, is timing it right? Because during the construction, a lot of truck, a lot of cement going back and forth, that will damage the sidewalk, the crosswalk faster than it intended to. So therefore, I don't know if that's the only option we have for the second location, or can we move it to another street like Broadway and Maryland, or I don't know, because the construction is still going on, if I'm not mistaken, for at least another year and a half or so.
Well, our urban design studio has also agreed that these would be optimal intersections. However, when we do begin to negotiate with Public Works, we'll take all those things into consideration. And if we do land on that this is not an appropriate location, we'll certainly bring that back to this commission.
I see. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Just as a follow-up, a question about that, because it makes sense to me as bookends, and rather than moving it around. I presume that if folks, if we move forward on this, and you have these conversations, and there is concern as you raise about there being greater deterioration because of what's going on in there, that it could just be extended, and we could still utilize the same allocation, or maybe if we. That goes back to, I guess, the question about the funding. If we're not under contract for it by June 30th, we just have to make sure that in a future work plan that it's.
I think as evidence with the signature art event, we could approve something now that could happen far later.
Yeah.
Can you also give us a timeline?
Well, our Our hopeful timeline would be around the grand opening of the Central Library. It would be just another one of those things that could build momentum around the Central Library reopening. So I'm certainly hoping that the one that's adjacent to the library can be done in time for the grand reopening and can be just another thing to come and see.
Sounds good. Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, so what's the estimated time to make it, to create, to clean a sidewalk? The artist?
I'm going to defer to our consultant that's here. I think she's
He's
back
not
here.
listening.
She's not.
Hi, would you introduce
Hi.
yourself?
Yes, my name is Sumi Gan. I'm with TNT Public Relations.
Hello.
Yes, so I guess I was wondering, how long does it take to install the artwork in the crosswalks?
It all depends on the type of materials that's used, but typically it'll take, they'll do it overnight or maybe over 2 nights. But it's not a long process. I mean, particularly with the type of materials I think you're intending to use. It's traffic paint, right, primarily?
Yes.
That's easy.
I think that
just like
the
2
difficult
nights.
part
That's
is
crazy.
shutting down a street for 2 nights and making sure that, that the artwork is preserved and getting all the stencils right and, all that stuff. So I think the actual installation itself is pretty short. It's just getting ready for it.
And last month you said they expect it to last about 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Is that the estimated? 2 to 5?
Yeah, depending on traffic and how much, I guess, how many cars and people are walking on it.
So there's a mention here that they may close down that whole area for traffic. Yeah, I think
During
I
the
just read that.
installation, yes, that's correct.
No, during installation. Is that what I misread that? Okay. So if there's no car traffic, it's going to last much longer, obviously, right?
Oh, no.
That's a good one.
Well, I mean, we close the intersection while we're installing the artwork, but those intersections would be open to traffic.
Open to traffic,
yes,
always.
They would be. The city is considering leaving a portion of Maryland shut down, which
Right.
it currently is. And I think, that might
But
be.
this would not fall in that section.
No, this would be traversed by cars and pedestrians.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
Well, one comment where I think maybe, as Harai said, the timing is very important, and I think it'd be really good to have it timing with the library opening. So I think we could maybe try the first one near the library and then see how that goes and see if we like it, see what the reaction is, whether we like it and whether the Glendale residents like it, and then we can see if we want to do the next one when the timing is right.
That could be a strategy. I think our urban design studio is raring to go on this. So we're very eager to get started.
I like the second location. It's a matter of just finishing the construction and then putting it on there. That's all there is to it. Not that I don't like the area, but let's wait until the construction is done, then put the installation for the Maryland and Wilson.
Wilson.
But also, if you go back to the first picture, I mean, that's really impactful, that picture, but ours is not going to be that impactful. It's going to be only the crosswalks.
Crosswalks,
So,
yes.
I would like to see what it looks like, what the interaction with the public is before we go and spend another $40,000 doing another one. That would be maybe my suggestion.
Well, we could certainly prioritize the one in front of the library, and we'll certainly have lessons learned on that, and it would only make sense to do the other one second. Now, our crosswalks are wider than what's depicted here, so...
Is that right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, ours are wider.
See, it's really very hard to judge the impact until it's actually done. So
That's true. This is a courageous move.
In fact, that's a good idea if we can start with across the central library and then delay the second phase for another 6 months, maybe. That will give us an idea how it's going to look and how its impact.
That would be fine. With your approval, I could put together for your next meeting the phasing of how we might do that after I get a chance to talk to my colleagues in Public Works, if you'd like to approve the allocation.
That's something
Now,
probably...
they're a group that does things way planned out for a long
I know.
time, so we need to get on their docket.
All right.
I'm just curious of whether I'm hearing interest in approving as stated, but coming back with a phased, or if there was interest in reducing the amount and just approving the first one and then coming back under another plan for a second one if that was appropriate. That's what I thought I was hearing.
That's my suggestion, yes. Because we may, not that it won't be interesting, but the impact may not be there for whatever reason because of that intersection or design use. I mean, I think it's something new. We're trying something new, and it's not $5,000. It's $70,000. So I would say we can try one. If they can be installed in 2 days, then we can do it. The next one pretty quickly if we really like it, and the public's interaction with it is positive.
The only comment I would have to counter that would be that doing the two bookends of the Art Entertainment District in itself creates buzz. It creates buzz around the district, it creates buzz around the artwork, and it defines what the district is. If we were just to do one of them, we would not have that story to tell.
And if I may, to that point, I think I said this in our last meeting as well, I think we as a city need to be integrating more art into our public infrastructure, and this is a really easy way to do that since we don't have any current plans or policies with regard to CIP projects and the like for the most part. So I also see an advantage of just saying, let's go ahead and allocate it. It's been proven nationally it's not a big risk, but it gets something out on the ground where pedestrians can see it, and we do have a big push for pedestrian safety and biking, and I think it's, even if it's still phased and we want to have lessons learned before it moves on to the next one, it's easier just to allocate it now, and if we decided, oh my God, it was a big failure, we never want to do it again, we don't have to do the second one, just to keep it moving.
I agree strategically that would be a better configuration for staff.
Okay. Then we are going to move for one installation plan as of now. Is that what I got?
I would make a motion to move forward with the allocation of the $70,000, keeping in mind that there'll be an assessment component after the first one, prioritizing the one outside of the library. That was a really, please reword that.
So your motion with a phase, well, we need a phasing, the plan for the phasing it out. So maybe we need that before we allocate.
Sure. Chair Sharikan and Commissioners, I mean, am I hearing that you want to do the full 70, or you want to do the full 70?
My motion is for the full 70,000 allocation,
with the condition that staff has a phasing plan in which Harvard and Maryland is done first, and then afterward the commission can review its success.
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver?
Yes.
Oshigan?
Yes.
Chairperson Sharikian?
Yes.
Did we get a second?
Well, we do have now. We have three.
We have.
We technically.
No, there's
You're not going to mention. We'll just try it again.
Okay. We have a motion.
I have a motion. Does it need to be restated?
Michael can restate
As
it for us.
I had stated, with the condition that the full 70,000 be allocated, with the first intersection being Harvard, Maryland, with the condition staff brings it back, showing its impact to the commission.
That's my motion.
I second that motion.
Commissioners Deaver?
Yes.
Oshigan?
Yes.
Chairperson Sharikian?
Yes. Okay.
Item 3, motion to approve a $125,000 expenditure to public art master plan.
Okay, Commissioners, my final report is a motion to recommend an allocation of $125,000 from the Urban Art Fund to contract with Cards Goldstein as the consultant to deliver the Glendale Citywide Public Art Master Plan and to present this recommendation to the City Council. And without going through the whole report, this is basically the timeline of events that have occurred with regarding this project. In November of 2015, the City Council approved our work plan, which included the Public Art Master Plan. We issued an RFP in February of the next year. We received 4 submissions in March. The Arts and Culture Commission reviewed the submissions in April and May. An interview panel interviewed the consultants that we liked the best at that time. After that, the panel recommended Cars Goldstein be the selected consultants. There was no meeting in August. In September, an interview process summary was presented to the Arts and Culture Commission. Last month, Cars Goldstein came and presented their approach and their budget to the Arts and Culture Commission, and the Arts and Culture Commission approved their selection. And today we're asking for a motion to approve the Cars Goldstein budget of $125,000.
Questions, comments? Long process we've been going through.
We beat this horse quite a bit.
Now is the time.
I'm good. I don't have any questions or comments.
I would offer a motion to approve the $125,000 expenditure to the Public Art Master Plan.
I will second that.
This is very easy.
$125,000 to spend.
I just want to make a comment. That's all. It's a positive comment before we vote. Knowing that we've been going through this master plan for almost a year now, and I'm personally looking forward to work day in, day out with the commission, with the Goldstein Cars organization to see how we're going to accomplish, and within hopefully by 2017 September, November, whenever is that date, when we have a solid plan, we can reach out to the public, we can reach out to the city council and talk with the proud, detailed, artistic, everything that we've been talking the past few months. This is something it's going to probably impact not only our city council and city commission, our commission, but also the whole public and city of Glendale and maybe beyond. This is something, it's a challenge for our commission to come up with innovative ideas, not only to prove that we can do something, but also for our next generation that going to enjoy city of Glendale and live in city of Glendale. And this is a start of a new, probably, I don't want to say the word era because it's huge, but it's a new wave. It's a new wave of activities and plan that we're hoping that's going to work for us.
It's a new era. Right.
It is.
It's a good word. It's a
good era. Okay, that's fine. But I'm looking forward, and I'm ready for all the challenges. And I hope my commissioners, like me, likewise, they're thinking the same, and we're ready for it. Now I can put it on the roll call. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver?
Yes.
Oshigan?
Yes.
Chairperson Sharikian?
Yes. Okay, this was...
Item 6, Commission staff comments.
I do have a staff comment. Staff is aware that some utility box murals are now obstructed with additional utility equipment. At least 10 of the murals have been impacted. We are working with Public Works to assess how many mural boxes will eventually be impacted so that we may estimate the costs of having the affected murals updated by the artists and to develop a process moving forward.
Very well said. Yes, I don't know if you guys noticed around.
What? Could you explain that?
Yes, I've seen, at least I can comment on it. I've seen some boxes, utility boxes, that they were added onto and facing towards the street instead of facing the other way, facing the street, and they were completely blocking the artwork.
And new utility boxes?
Yes. They're
like a brand new one?
No, not the brand new ones. They've been done probably phase 3 or phase 4. They were painted then. And I can give you one specific example on the corner of Verdugo and Glendale before GCC. There's a gas station. And right on the corner of the gas station, it's an existing painting, and they added a block facing the street. So it's completely blocked off the whole painting. This is something I hope the staff can help us out and see what we can do about it. Okay. Any other comments?
I will just say that I did attend the opening at the Brand of the Nexus Dream, and it's pretty fantastic. So I encourage everybody to get out there and see it. I think it pushes some cool envelopes and is really multicultural and contemporary and just a lot of thought-provoking and fun at the same time. Also wanted to mention that we had a successful this year's inaugural event at the Adams Hill gas station, the installation there, which was around the concept of Halloween, but the neighborhood partnered with us on that and had a great showing, and our Mayor Pro Tem, Arna Jarian, came out for that and addressed the crowd as well, which was really fantastic, so I really appreciated that he was there for that. And also just want to mention as an update, because I am our liaison for the Hollywood Burbank Airport art installation, and we've had our initial meeting around that, and we're having a follow-up meeting in a couple weeks to help decide on an artist for an installation there. So when we have more information to share, I will bring that back. But that's been a really cool opportunity for us. And one other thing I went to was our pop-up design pop-up arts through Glendale Arts. So if I know I don't know if anybody else had an opportunity to go to any of the things that they were holding, but it was really fun to see kind of an interesting crowd and in there making their own designs, and that was fun over at our old train station. So seeing that activated with arts as well, with people coming in both from the city of Glendale and from outside the city of Glendale to participate in that was pretty cool.
Sounds good. Thank you for sharing those. Laura, anything else? Okay. Nothing else?
Okay. Item 7, written communications. There's none.
Okay. Item 8.
Item 8, adjournment.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.